Hey, I want to thank you for joining us here on Polk Place. I'm Brian Lacey. And you know what we're going to talk? We're going to talk with Chapters Health Foundation, Good Shepherd Hospice, the Women of Giving. It is the 10th annual season of service. And joining us in studio is Stephanie Colón. She is the owner of Stephanie Colón Consulting. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And also Cindy Sternlicht. She is a charter member of Hospice of Women Giving. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So talk to me a little bit about your affiliation with Chapters Health and everything like that. How did you get started with them?
I got started about 12 years ago when I was approached by the Chapters Health Foundation to start a women's philanthropic group in the Good Shepherd service area. And so several of us worked together, and then we invited our friends, and next thing you know, we had Hospice Women of Giving. Our mission is to use the philanthropic gifts of women and to provide for unfunded services for Good Shepherd. And we make an investment every year in the organization. We vote on which things we wish to fund, and we help to educate the public about what hospice is really all about.
Stephanie, talk to me a little bit about your background with the organization.
Well, I've had personal experiences with hospice just from members of my family passing. And when I was asked to be the moderator through the luncheon, I couldn't say no. You know, I understand the importance of having a service like hospice available to family members who are ill and to the family who is the caregivers for the ill family member.
When you had this knowledge of and experience with hospice, talk to me, for those that might not know but may have heard about it, talk a little bit about what hospice does for family members and how, for lack of a better word, they help.
Sure. I feel like, in my experience, is that they provide a quality of life for the lasting days of the individual. Maybe it's a terminally ill family member, and they come in and help and be there for both sides, the patient who is not doing well and then also the family who's there to care for them. They can help in many ways, but it's also very comforting because they just provide a better quality of life.
So Cindy, this being the 10th annual season of service, talk to me a little bit about how this has grown, because every year I get invited, and every year the list of guests continues to be impressive.
It does, and we appreciate the fact that our reach is growing, that more people have heard about what the organization is doing, because that is part of our mission for Hospice Women of Giving. And we started our very first year with a panel of speakers talking about their personal experiences. We've grown to having individual speakers. We've had in Mitch Albom, Lydia Knorr, and through the awareness that those have created, the audience has grown, and so we're really proud of that. And this year we have an exciting panel of speakers that.
Yeah, we're gonna let Stephanie talk about that, because I've had the pleasure of interviewing one of them, and even though Mitch Albom is a huge name in the sporting world, I would beg to differ that our sheriff is equally as large. Talk to me a little bit about some of the guests that's going to be on the panel.
Well, like you said, Sheriff Grady Judd is going to be joining us, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We also have a professor from Florida Southern, Southeastern. Kenneth Stevens is going to come and speak with us, and then also our public defender Blair Allen will be joining us as well. So we're excited to have him.
When it comes to moderating these, what are you looking for from the panel? What are you hoping that the crowd takes home? Because that's the hardest part, when they put you in front of and they go, listen, this is what we're looking for. So what are you hoping the message is at the end of the day?
That they experience many challenges in their careers, and through that, because we have a public defender who has to defend individuals, and there's a lot of empathy that comes with that position. And so I think that from her standpoint, or what I'd like to get specifically from Blair, is that the understanding and empathy and resilience that comes out of challenging moments. And that can relate to anything, whether you're having to be defended in a situation that you maybe put yourself in, but the resiliency that comes out of that from each individual, and that there is hope for a more peaceful future ahead.
Now, Cindy, let's talk a little bit about dates, times, and costs for the folks if they're interested, and of course, sponsorship opportunities.
Okay. The Seasons of Service this year will be held on Tuesday, April the 8th at Bonnet Springs Park Event Center. It's from 11:30 to 1:30, and we'll have a nice lunch and look forward to the program. People can buy tickets. There is a link on the chapter's Health Foundation website, or you can contact Good Shepherd Hospice directly. And the cost for an individual ticket is $80. And then there are opportunities of different levels of sponsorships, or if someone would like to buy an entire table and as a special sponsor and have reserved seating.
Talk to me about the venue. Honestly, that is quickly becoming one of my favorite. I mean, we've got great places to hold events, but Bonnet Springs Park and that venue in and of itself is probably the crown jewel of, if you're going to put on a party, that's the place to do it.
It is a great venue, and it also seats the larger crowd that we've been experiencing. But yes, it's beautiful out there. There are windows out onto the gardens, and it's quite lovely and a nice place to meet.
Stephanie, we're going to give you the final word. What I want you to do is inspire those at home to make sure that they make it to the venue and really take to heart the message that you're trying to get out, but most of all, support the actual event, if you would, please.
As Cynthia said, individual tickets are only $80. And the whole point of having this fundraiser is to be able to continue to provide services to families in need when they're getting ready to go through that kind of challenging time in their life in dealing with a loved one. It's a great service provided. It's free to all families, and I just encourage people to come out and hear the message of resiliency and understanding what it takes to get through those processes with your family members.
You know, in all my years of dealing with Paula Kramer, and when she sends me and says, I need help, I tell her, whatever you need, we'll take care of it. I know we have a short turnaround on this. I'm always happy to help. But I can't help but notice that whenever she wants to come in and promote, she never comes in. This goes back to her SPCA days. She will not be on camera, so I don't know why.
You know, I honestly cannot answer that question either. She just said, please come do this, and I said, yes, ma'am.
Exactly.
I'm here to serve.
Exactly.
So you guys sound like we
That's how
have
it
the
works.
same relationship. Well, ladies, it was a pleasure to meet you, and any time that you guys, if you need to promote anything else, I know you work with other organizations, and if you guys need to promote anything, please come back in and see me. The couch is yours. Would love to sit down and talk with you, all right?
Okay,
Yes,
thank you so much
for your time.
having us.
Chapters Health Foundation and the Good Shepherd Hospice Women of Giving invite you to the 10th annual Season of Service, a celebration of connection and community. Join them from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Tuesday, April 8th. Special guests include Sheriff Grady Judd, Public Defender Blair Allen, and Southeastern University Professor Ken Stevens, and a panel moderator, Stephanie Colón. Now, the goal is to bring awareness to hospice and all of its program it offers for those in need. Now, if you need details, go to chaptersfoundation.com/seasons of service registration, or give them a call at 863-333-1350. If you enjoyed that episode of Polk Place, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and even check out the next one.